This is part 4 of Geronimo Stilton, The Mystery in Venice, and part 4 is the last part of the book, where I'm so excited to be ending this book because this is too corny. By the way, let's start. We're here to help. The next day at sunset, I left the shop and went to the dock where Sharp Whisker's gondola was anchored. It was an old peeling mess. Even worse, the boat was sucking in water like my Uncle Adventure Mouse after his 3-week excursion through the desert. Alarmed, I glanced around at the other racing boats that were docked next to Sharp Whisker's boat. Not only were they beautiful, but they were in tip-top shape. I began to sob in desperation. Oh, why do I always get myself in these ridiculous situations? Right then, a familiar voice interrupted my crying jag. What's with the waterworks, Germeister? You're such a crybaby. I turned to find my cousin Trap laughing at him. Next to him stood my sister Thea, my nephew Benjamin, Petunia Pretty Paws, and her niece Bugsy Wugsy. No, Bugsy Wugsy's real name is Pandora. We're here to help, Uncle Geronimo, squeaked Benjamin. I was so happy to see my family and friends. I hugged everyone. Then I told them about my adventures so far in Venice. I explained about the big race that was to be held the following Sunday and about my plan to convince Sharp Whisker to let Hope and Arnold get married. What a romantic story. Oh, really? Elisabetta, what'd you do to this book? Petunia and Thea whispered. Trap just rolled his eyes. I'm getting cavities with all of this gushing sweetness, he grumbled. A few minutes later, Thea got down to business. Okay, everyone, there's no time to stand around shooting the cheese. We've got work to do. We've got to get in shape for the big race. She pulled a whistle out. Tweet, tweet. We'll begin in sprints, she squeaked. We'll begin with sprints, she squeaked. After 10 minutes, I crashed to the ground. Trap fell on top of me, then Benjamin, followed by Petunia, and finally Bugsy Wugsy. Help! I squeaked from underneath the pile of mice. Oh, what a disaster! If we kept going at this rate, we'd never make it to the race on Sunday. As soon as we untangled ourselves, I turned to Thea and said in my nicest voice, I know we need to get in shape, but before we do that, I think we should find a new racing gondola. Then we can work out and practice rowing at the same time. Isn't that a great idea? My sister looked insulted. Did I mention she likes to be the boss of everything? She shot me a look. I could tell she was about to give me a piece of her mind when suddenly a sleek gondola slipped into the canal. It was a vibrant yellow, and then it was being rowed by none other than Hope Sharpwhisker. Hope rowed up the dock and waved. I heard about your plan, Geronimo, and I'll do everything I can help you to win. Here, take this gondola. It was made by Arnold. He's an amazing carpenter, she explained. I looked at the gondola. Hope wasn't exaggerating. Arnold truly was an amazing carpenter. It was exquisite. Before I could thank her, she took off down the dock. I'm off to see my friends, she called back. We are going to make you some Babby-mouthed uniforms. I smiled as Hope disappeared around the corner. She was such a different mouse from the one I had met in old Sharp Whisker's art attic. She had changed from a total sad sack into, whoa, someone hopeful. I guess that just goes to show you how powerful love can be. I think Hope is the perfect name for her because she's so hopeful. Tweet, tweet. The next week was a nightmare. During the day, I worked in the glass shop. In the evenings, I trained with my family and friends. First, Thea had us run for miles and miles, and she made us practice rowing for hours and hours. What a workout! Every night, I dreamed about training. I pictured myself running up an impossibly steep mountain and rowing across an impossibly wide ocean. The whole time, I could just hear Thea's whistle blasting my ear. Tweet, tweet. I was so exhausted I could barely comb my fur in the morning. It stuck up all over the place. I was a mess. I was starting to look like the lead singer from the popular punk band Wild Ratitudes. Still, what could I do? I had to keep going. Hope was counting on me. Unfortunately, as the day of the race approached, I grew more and more nervous. It didn't help that old Sharpwhisker continued to threaten me every day. You'd better not make me look like a fool or you'll be sorry, he would roar in my snout. Luckily, every time I started feeling scared, Benjamin and Bugsy Wuggsy were there to encourage me. Come on, Uncle G, you can do it! They cheered, and luckily, every time I wanted to skip training, Theo would show up with their trusty whistle and a pep talk. Tweet, tweet, come on, Dirk, keep those paws moving. And luckily, every time I was just feeling low, Petunia would flash me a sweet smile. Even my obnoxious cousin Trap kept me going with his awful jokes. The more time passed, the stronger our team got, and the luckier I felt that I had such great family and friends. At least it was the day of the historic regatta. I was excited and nervous at the same time. Before the race, there is a magnificent costume parade on the Grand Canal. First comes the Bucintoro, a, lu- a luxury boat, followed by other amazing decorated boats. What an unbelievable show! I was so entranced with the boats. I almost forgot about the race, but just as I began to relax, I spotted Sharp Whisker in the crowd. You better not make me look like a fool or you'll be sorry, Sharp Whisker shrieked. Just then the judge started the race. Immediately, my teammates began to row as fast as they could, but my paws were petrified. I was completely frozen with fright. After a few minutes, we were in last place. The crowd laughed at us. Love is a marvelous thing. Everything seemed lost until something unexpected happened. As we were floating along the Grand Canal, I suddenly spied a rodent wearing a pink polka dot hat. It was her, the rodent of my nightmares. When she saw me, she began squeaking like a mad mouse. My darling, my beloved, I finally found you. I was horrified. Right then, I felt a surge of energy shoot through my body. I had to get away. I began to row so hard my paws seemed like windmills. Over the loudspeaker, the comment- commented enthusiastically, and here comes the theme from Sharp Whisker's House of Glass. Holy cheese, they're picking up speed. It's incredible. That yellow gondola is on fire. The crowd is going wild. Now it's down the finish line, and the winner is Sharp Whisker's House of Glass. I couldn't believe it. We had won. Hooray! Benjamin and Bugsy Wuggsy yelled. Meanwhile, Petunia gave me a strange look. Gee, who was that lady mouse with the pink polka dot hat? She asked, and why would she calling you darling? I turned purple with embarrassment. Well, I don't really know her, I began, but before I could explain any further, we were invited to go to the platform to get our prize. Once I was on stage, I saw a mouse with a familiar pink polka dot hat. It was her, the rodent of my nightmares. She was the assistant to the master of ceremonies. She put a red flag in my paws. That's the traditional prize for the historic regatta. Then she planted a kiss on my snout. You can't run anymore, she squeaked. I have to kiss the winners. That's the tradition. Plus, you said you were going to marry me, right, my little Venetian fuzzy fur? Petunia frowned. I thought you said you didn't know her, G, she said, sniffing and looking hurt. I felt like screaming. Oh, how do I always manage to make a mess of things? I don't know her, I told Petunia. She's been following me since I arrived in Venice, and she's got it in her head that she wants to marry me. Then I turned to my admirer. I'm sorry, I don't want to marry you, miss, I explained calmly. I'm very flattered, but I don't even know your name. Also, I'm not from Venice. I'm from New Mouse City on Mouse Island. She looked at me with disappointment. You're serious? You're not from Venice? Well, then you can forget it, furball, she snapped. Then she turned to Sharp Whisker and looked him over. And you, dear sir? She asked. Where might you be from? I am 100% Venetian, he responded. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. Well, then you're the rodent of my dreams, she gushed. Sharpwhisker blushed under his dark whiskers. Then he gallantly kissed her paw. It was official. Stuart Sharpwhisker had fallen head over heels in love. He couldn't take his eyes off his new lady mouse, and she giggled with delight. I decided now was the perfect time to remind him of his promise. Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but you promised that if I won the race you would give me what I wanted. I said, Of course, he thundered. What do you want? Money? A house? A lifetime supply of crystal gondolas? I took a deep breath, gathered my courage, and spit it out. No, I don't want anything for myself. I just want you to give your niece hope permission to marry Arnold, the love of her life. And you can't make him work at the glass shop anymore. He's an amazing carpenter. When I had finished, Sharp Whisker turned a deep shade of red. I thought it would explode, but instead he smiled. Now that I know what it's like to be in love, I understand my niece. He said, "Love is a marvelous thing. She must follow her heart." I grinned. It seemed my mission in Venice was finished. Love truly is a marvelous thing. And that is it for part 4. And that is it of the book The Mystery in Venice by Geronimo Stilton. And I hope you enjoyed the recording of all 4 parts of this book. Bye.